Hi, I'm Erica Harold, Executive Director of the Illinois Supreme Court Commission on Professionalism. Welcome to Reimagining Law. Today, I'm joined by Judge Michael Chmiel, presiding judge of the Civil Division in the 22nd Judicial Circuit in McHenry County, who will be Chief Judge in December. We will talk today about the role of lawyers and judges in helping to steer courtrooms, workplaces, and society as a whole towards civility. Judge Chmiel, thanks for joining me. Before we jump in, I'd like to remind our viewers to like this video and subscribe to our channel for new videos from the Commission. Now let's get started. Judge Chmiel, our world seems to be consumed with a lot of contention and division. How can lawyers and judges, who are typically leaders in our communities, help to set the tone for civility?
One way is to show up. Let me come back to that, but first acknowledge this. First, we're in the front lines. You know, what did Shakespeare, whoever it was, say about lawyers and people? So we are in the front lines. People come to us with issues. I think it's important as well for us to stay in our lanes, to use a local or a common thing of the current vernacular. But a challenge as well with that, we're in the front lines. We need to stay in our lanes, if you will. Social media is really challenging. It is. It's
Absolutely.
New world order. It's a new world order. I think we have to respect it. We have to realize it. As well, we have to take a deep breath before responding. I think all too often we're quick to hit a button, but take a deep breath because of candidly who we are, whether we're an attorney or a judge or any person for that matter. And then we have to realize what we say is important. There is a concern. People have talked over the last couple of years about cancel culture and either canceling somebody or not showing up, if you will. But I think it's important to show up. But again, to be thoughtful, because everything we say and do, I think reflects upon us and our profession. So I think that's how we set the tone for civility.
Well, those are big terms, civility and professionalism. How would you define civility and professionalism?
True enough, civility, without being redundant, is being polite, respecting other views. And that's really important because so too often there are other views. We have opinions, and I think we need to realize that there's another opinion out there. Having a good bedside manner, to use the theme from the medical profession. And, you know, oddly enough, having a good bedside manner in our world might be good for business as well. But I think if we're being civil, we're being polite, we're respecting other views. That doesn't mean you have to endorse the other view. If you're representing the plaintiff, you don't have to endorse the defendant's point of view because you have a job to do. But as well, having a good side manner, civility, I think, in the end, and I say it's typically better for business. There are some who like the incivil person, but I think generally people want to gravitate to somebody who's civil. Professionalism, on the other hand, I think is knowing what we are doing, what you are doing, what I am doing, what we are doing, knowing what we are saying, realizing our role, and knowing and respecting the profession, because we're a part of it. You know, one of the cool things about our profession is we police ourselves. We have people of all aspects of it. So we're in a profession, and I don't take that lightly. I think most people don't. Sometimes we forget about that. It's a job. No, it's a profession. And in our profession, what are we doing? You, Erica, myself, we're ultimately advancing the rule of law. I don't want to get too esoteric, but through our work, we're helping candidly order society. So I think it's huge that we have a profession, we police ourselves, we know what we're doing. And in the end, this civility issue or thought, this professional issue or thought, they come together. They're so interwoven, and I think they're very important for us to have in our presence.
So as a judge, how do you respond when incivility occurs in your courtroom?
Well, the easy way is to make sure it never happened or look the other way, but you can't. I'm in my courtroom and I'm thinking about different things that have happened in courtroom 202 here in Woodstock. Come visit. But I think it's important to address it. And it's difficult at times. We have to know our role. To me, a very important role for a judge's temperament, but people come to us and they look for us to steer the ship, if you will. So I think it's important to deal with it. Sometimes we have to educate people on it. In other words, what's the role of everybody? Me, the judge, the attorney, the witness, whoever it is. And we have to remind people, oftentimes I'll admonish witnesses from the witness box. The role of the attorney is this, the role of the witness is this. Together, we'll try to advance the cause. And you have to meet it with a proper tone. Typically with incivility, we're working to de-escalate it. I got that from the marshals of the Supreme Court, colleagues of mine on court security. But you want to de-escalate it, but you have to address it. And then ultimately, I think we as judges have to use the tools we have. If it doesn't tone down, well, I'll be shy about what I say, but we judges have a fair amount of power, direction, authority, and we have to use it, but we have to cage it. And I think ultimately, to get back to the point, we need to address it.
Well, you issued a series of standing orders that begin with a section that reminds parties and attorneys to engage in professionalism and civility in the handling of court cases and to confer on pending matters before coming to the courthouse. What made you decide to issue that order?
Well, I've been doing this a while as an attorney in the trench, if you will, then as a judge now for over 17 years. And what I saw is oftentimes people would come up, the case is called, they'd meet each other at the bench or in front of the bench, and they'd maybe shake hands or just say, I'm here for the plaintiff, I'm here for the defendant. And I've had a sense, more so from the bench, that people were not talking before. So this takes me back then when Justice Thomas, Bob Thomas, kind of inspired and put together the Commission on Professionalism. I said, well, why do we need that? And then ever since, I'm reminded oftentimes in seeing that type of conduct. So selfishly, it helps us process the case. But what we're here to do is in our courtrooms, we are here to help people with their issues, their problems, their disagreements. And if you don't talk before you come up here, then this is a real awkward setting. Everything in my courtroom, most courtrooms is recorded. And I want people to have that discussion. It's helpful when attorneys are involved, but even when a litigant is involved, where it's difficult to represent yourself because you're in it, you're passionate about it. But I think it's important, again, going back to civility, respecting the other side, respecting there are 2 points of view. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have a case in a courtroom. So again, I think it's important to have that dialogue, to realize we have an issue. You're coming to us at the courthouses to address it. And I think candidly, the reason why I put it in my standing order, and I encourage the judges in our civil division to do it as well, and we talk about it to those at lectures and otherwise, is we often have to remind ourselves. I have to remind myself too. Sometimes I get into it because I love my job. I love my profession. But I think by reminding ourselves, it's important. And to me, it's a critical function of what we all do in courtrooms. We engage to come up with a resolution. We typically say there's a winner and a loser, but at least if people feel like they had a good shake, there was a process, then I think the world is a better place. I really do. So that's more or less why I do it more than anything, to remind people that that's a critical function of people involved in the case, especially if you're an attorney representing somebody else.
Do you think that incivility undermines public trust in the justice system?
Absolutely, yes. Exclamation point. And the reason it does is when you see somebody who's bombastic or whatever the word is, don't you scratch your head and say, well, maybe I should meet this person outside. Well, that's not the justice system. That's all due respect to old world ways of centuries ago. No, we've evolved. As people, but by all means, it undermines, it cuts from what we're trying to do. But if we can provide an orderly forum, we can then advance, what was that? The rule of law. But we need buy-ins. We need buy-ins by everyone, by judges, by attorneys, by our court staff. I include everyone, but especially the litigants and the parties. So for them to come here and want to deal with us, they got to feel like they're going to get a fair shake, so to speak. And incivility, I think, pushes that away and it prevents it from happening. So yes, I can't emphasize enough, incivility, we got to get rid of it. There's a role for that, maybe on an athletic field or in a boxing match, but not in a courtroom.
What is one piece of advice that you would share with lawyers and judges who want to make a positive difference in the profession?
Well, I've used this phrase before. A friend has inspired this in my vernacular of late, and that is show up, get involved, stay involved. I really, really believe that it's what we make of it. When you think it through, there are us, attorneys, right? Even as judges, I have to be an attorney, whether it's the new grad or even a law student, all the way up to the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. We're all in this together. What we do, it's so important. So what I mean by show up, be civil, be professional in your daily job, but as well, do some of what you and I are doing here, working to advance the rule of law, advance the cause through, I don't know, teaching, sharing ideas, collaborating. It's important to have a life too, but for our profession, I really believe we have to show up and participate. Again, it's what we make of it.
Well, Judge Chmiel, thank you so much for joining us. And to all of you who are watching, please like and share this video and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on new videos from the Commission. Thank you so much for watching.